Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. NJ.Firearms here with another video for you today. Alright, today I have an interesting topic, alright. I've been seeing a lot of people go back and forth with this topic online. You know, the last few weeks or the last couple months, and you know, I happen to have both firearms in my collection, so I figured why not pull them out and kind of give you my thoughts and opinions on it. You know, we'll go over the similarities, the differences, and you know, maybe by the end of the video you'll have you know, some knowledge you didn't have before, and maybe you'll be swayed one way or the other. Alright, but before we go ahead and we jump into the topic for today, I do just want to say thank you guys to the views on the last video. It means a lot to me that you guys took the time out of your day to view the video. You know, maybe you guys learned something that you didn't know before. You know, but if you would, I would just ask that you guys like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. All right, it would mean a lot to me, and it would be a huge help, you know, for my channel and for me to grow, and you know, to be able to keep pushing out this content for you guys going forward. All right. So without further ado, the topic I have for you guys today is Glock versus the Springfield Echelon. Okay. So the reason that this video, or this topic I should say, has been sparking some debate recently is because Springfield has released two new versions of the Echelon within the last couple months. I believe this originally came out in 2023, and you know, they had kind of the debate going then, but since the initial release of the Echelon, they have came out with two new versions recently. They have the full-sized comp version, and they also have the Echelon Compact. It's a 4-inch barrel, I believe, compact version, which is more similar to this Glock right here. This is the 19. When you're comparing the full-size Echelon, you really should compare it to the Glock 17. Again, this is the 19 Gen 5. I don't personally own a 17. That's why I'm going to go ahead and just compare the 19 to the Springfield Echelon. With that being said, when I go over, you know, the specifics on the Glock pistol right here, I'm going to be going over the Gen 5, you know, specs or features, I guess I should say. And also, just for all intents and purposes, we're going to assume that this is the 17, the Glock 17, okay? Just because it's going to be comparing more apples to apples, if that makes sense, okay? Because this is more of a compact, and this is more of a full size. All right, so before we go ahead and we jump into everything, I do just want to drop the magazine here on both firearms, just show you the magazine is empty. The firearm is clear, nothing in the mag, nothing in the chamber. All right, again, we'll come over here. Nothing in the mag, nothing in the magazine well, and nothing in the chamber. The gun is clear. All right. So taking a look at these two firearms, right off the bat, what I want to say is they both come with 17 round magazines, okay, from the factory. Now, the exception to that is me being in New Jersey, residing here in New Jersey. We have a mag capacity limit of 10 rounds. So my magazines are limited to 10 rounds. These are the neutered versions. All right, so if you buy these in other states, they're going to come from the factory with 17 round mags. Okay, so one thing to take into consideration when you do go ahead and you buy yourself the Glock, it's going to come with 3 magazines. Okay, the Echelon is going to come with 2 magazines. Okay, again, it's going to be a 17 round magazine for both, but the one thing that the Echelon right off the bat is going to have over the Glock is it's going to give you 2 magazines. One's going to be a 17 and one's actually going to be a 20 round mag. It's going to have a +3 base plate on it, and also in the box they're going to give you another +3 base plate to be able to transform your other 17 round mag into another 20 round mag. So again, they're going to give you 2 17 round magazines with 2 +3 base plates, so essentially giving you 2 20 round magazines. That's a plus in my opinion. You know, like I said, Glock does give you 3 magazines, 17 rounders, but again, just limited to the 17. You can add +2s, you know, at your own expense if you order them or whatever the case might be. They don't come standard, but you know, just something to consider. All right, so taking another look at these 2 guns right here. All right, one thing that I do want to point out right off the bat is the iron sights. Okay, so on the Glock, these are actually upgraded irons. Okay, these are steel Ameriglow sights that I personally upgraded. Okay, from the factory, you are going to get polymer sights. Okay, the same old Glock sights that we've all come to know and most of us dislike. It is what it is, but that's what you're going to get from the factory, from Glock. Okay, certain models, obviously, you'll have the upgraded sights, but on your basic, you know, Gen 5 Glock pistols, you're going to have polymer sights. Okay, now with the Springfield Echelon, you're going to have steel sights from the factory. All right, on this model in particular, it does have the U sights in the back right here. I'm a fan of them. You know, a lot of people don't like the U. You know, they like the 3-dot tritium sights. I kind of really like the U. You know, I've used them quite a bit, and you know, I've had some practice with them. I really like the factory sights with the Echelon. All right, I don't see a need to change them. You know, so you know, I don't know. I really like them. So moving on, again, we're going to assume this is the 17. This is the MOS version Glock, okay? So if you buy a Glock 17, it's most likely not going to be the MOS version, okay? This is the MOS version, meaning that it's cut for an optic, okay? Most Glock 17s are not going to be in the MOS variant, okay? I believe you'd have to get the, what is it, the 47, I believe, would come with the MOS, but the Glock 17 generally is not going to come with the MOS. I believe you can get them, but they're a little bit more hard to find, and like I said, you're typically not going to come with the optic cut. All right, so, and it does actually cost a little bit more to have the optic cut right here, okay? When with the Glock, okay, you're typically gonna have to use a plate, okay, for your optics. The exception to that would be this specific hollow sun optic right here. There's a couple others on the market, but I believe the SCS is the most popular. This is going to be a direct mount optic right to the frame, okay? It's going to sit really low. It's going to give you a very nice co-witness with factory iron sights. That's a big one, because with a lot of other ones, like for, you know, if you don't use this sight, or optic I should say, and you have to put a plate on the pistol, it's going to raise the optic up off the frame, and now you're not going to be able to co-witness with factory iron sights. You're going to have to go out and buy taller suppressor height sights. Okay, so that could be a downside depending how you look at it. You know, some people are going to upgrade the sights anyway, so to them it's not a big deal. You know, me personally, wherever I could save money, I'd like to save money. You know, so I really like this this optic. If I wasn't gonna, I knew when I bought this pistol that I was gonna get the SCS. Had I not known that, if I was going to go with an RMR, a 507C, something of that, you know, something like that, you know, I don't know if I would have got it MOS. Maybe I would have got it milled. You know, I don't know. It's, you know, I knew that I was going to get this optic, and I knew that the MOS version would be perfect for me, or, you know, what I wanted it for. Okay, so taking a look over here at the Echelon comes standard with what's known as their Viz system, which is their optic mounting system. So this pistol actually comes from the factory, cut for an optic. And one thing that is really cool about their Viz system is it uses pins underneath this plate. I'm not going to take it off, but underneath this plate, there's a bunch of different holes that you can put pins in and basically change the pins around to make it work for whatever optic you want to run. There are some exceptions to that, but I believe from the factory, this pistol is able to run, and it is included with all the pins needed for different footprints, I believe over 20 different optics with this single optic cut. I think that is a major bonus, you know, to having that. I think, you know, there's a couple other companies, I believe, that have their own mounting systems, but that is awesome, you know. I really like that. A lot of people don't like Glock's mounting system because of the fact that you'll have to use a plate. You know, a lot of people will say that the plate is an extra failure point, and, you know, which I guess I could see that. You know, I definitely understand where they're coming from. I don't know one way or the other that it would bother me per se. I don't, you know, I have seen online where there have been failures of the plates. I don't know if that's the plate that they used. Maybe they installed it improperly. I'm not sure. I've never, you know, had an issue. I've never personally seen an issue with anybody I know. But just something to keep in mind, you know, generally you're going to want your optic to sit lower. So, you know, so using it without a plate is generally the way to go if you can, whether that be using an optic system like here on the Echelon, or having it direct milled, or using the MOS with the SCS. You know, that's generally the route that people want to go. All right, so moving on, both pistols are going to come with a 4.5-inch barrel. Again, this is the 19, but assuming this is the 17, it's going to come with a 4.5-inch barrel, as does the Springfield Echelon. Okay, taking a look here at the serrations. All right, both pistols are going to have front and rear slide serrations. Okay, now one thing, these are just your basic Glock slide serrations. I don't know if you can see that, but you know, they're definitely on there. They feel good. You know, you're not going to slip, I would say, for the most part. All right, they're definitely useful. Now, taking a look at the Springfield slide serrations, you can see that they are much more pronounced. They are deeper, you know, and they really give you that reassurance that you are not going to slide off. And one thing is, if you look right here, you can see a little indent where even if you do slip off, you're likely going to still be able to grab it right there. Very nice slide serrations. In fact, some of the nicest slide serrations I've seen on the market today. You know, even the rear slide serrations, in the back they have this little I don't know what you want to call it, but this little like wing cutout type thing where if you do slip off, you know, that's going to ensure that you're going to be able to still be able to get a purchase on that slide right there, and you are not going to slide off and miss, you know, racking your slide. All right, so again, both do offer the slide serrations. I think that Springfield has the upper hand on the slide serrations, just as far as how much more they are aggressive, how deeper they are, and, you know, just ultimately they feel great. Okay. All right, so moving down to the actual frame. Okay, let's talk about texture here for a second. Okay, the frame texture. So as you can see, I have a Handle It Edge Series grip on my frame here. That's because that the Gen 5 has your typical Glock texturing. Okay, it's adequate. You know, it's not spectacular. Okay, it'll work in most cases, but it's nothing to write home about. Okay, I've seen a lot better grip textures. You know, and I think that that's an area that that Glock could definitely improve on. For whatever reason, I don't know, they've kept the same texturing for years. All right, so it is what it is. You know, a lot of people will put hockey tape around it, or they'll put these grips on it. Some people will do custom stippling jobs. You know, whatever the case might be for you, whatever works for you. You know, now looking at the Echelon here has this wonderful texture on it. It's great. I mean, it's not too aggressive to where like it's gonna tear up your skin. It's gonna, you know, agitate anything, but it's really done in a way to where when you grip it tighter, it grips better, if that makes sense. So the harder you grip it, the better of a grip you're going to get. It really allows you to bite down on it and really get a nice firm purchase on the pistol. It's nice. I haven't had any issues with sliding off. I do tend to have some sweatier hands than your average person, and I have not once felt like I needed to go ahead and get an aftermarket grip for it. I haven't needed hockey tape. I mean, this grip is wonderful. It really is magnificent. All right, and another thing I'd like to talk about the grip is, or the texturing. I love everywhere that Springfield has put the texturing. Okay, if you look, they did not go you know, go, I don't want to use the word cheap. They didn't cheap out, but that's not really the right word. They didn't forget about any part of the gun. The whole handle, front, back, you know, all around, even up in here where your thumb's going to rest, you know, it's textured all the way around. Underneath the trigger guard, where your support hand or your second hand's going to come around, it's nice and textured. In front of the trigger guard right here, so if you know, I run a light, so I don't typically you know, have anything that comes around like that. But if you don't, and if you don't run a light and you you know, kind of hold the gun like that, you have texturing everywhere you'd want it to be. In fact, they even have this little ledge right here, which is great for when, you know, your thumb, it's kind of like a like almost like a built-in gas pedal type deal. It's textured there as well. I mean, they did not drop the ball on texturing at all. It is perfect, in my opinion. Actually, if it's not a 10, it's very close. I mean, it's up there. It's actually pretty interesting. For some reason, they even put the texturing right here on the guide rod too, which I thought was kind of funny. You know, I don't know, you know, why you would need that, but I think it's a nice little touch. All right, and also let's not forget that they even put it down here on the magazine right here. Or I don't know if you can see that, but even on both sides of the magazine here and in the front, they textured it. So with that being said, I mean, the Springfield definitely has the upper hand on texturing. Let's take a look back here at the Glock again. It's very hard to see because it's impossible to see because I have the handle it grip over it, but I can tell you that Glock does not stipple up in this area. They definitely don't have I'm sorry, not stipple, any texture up here in this area. They definitely don't have any texture under the trigger guard, in front of the trigger guard, on the magazine, and they don't have it up here where your fingers are gonna rest either. All right, so it's just your typical Glock, you know, texture down here on the handle. All right, so definitely leaves a little bit to be desired there, in my humble opinion. All right, let's take a moment here and let's talk about triggers. All right, so this is not a stock Gen 5 trigger, okay? This is going to be the Glock Performance trigger, but if you buy a Gen 5, okay, it's going to come with a Gen 5 trigger, obviously. And the Gen 5 trigger is generally considered to be an upgrade over the Gen 4 and the Gen 3 triggers, you know, and so on. With that being said, the Gen 5 trigger that came in my gun, it was okay. All right, it definitely broke in over, you know, the first 1,000-1,500 rounds. It definitely broke in, but it's, you know, it's just not, it wasn't my cup of tea. Okay, the biggest thing for me really was not the actual trigger pull, but the trigger shoe. When you went to pull the trigger, it didn't sit flat. Okay, like for example, when you pull this and your finger right here, it's flat when that trigger safety gets pushed in. Excuse me. With the Gen 5 trigger, or the Glock trigger in general, the stock one, when that trigger safety gets pulled or pushed in, it actually protrudes a little bit from the actual trigger shoe itself. So the whole time you're pulling the trigger, you feel a bump in your finger, and it drives me nuts. I absolutely hated it. So I found a good deal online for the Glock Performance trigger, and I figured I'd give that a shot. And it is a major upgrade over the regular Gen 5 trigger. All right, let's go ahead and I'll show you what that looks like here. So here, go ahead, you have your little take up here. You hit the wall. It's a nice nice, you know, nice solid profound wall. All right, and then you have a nice crisp trigger break. All right, and here's the reset. Nice tactile, loud, audible reset again. All right, so it's a good trigger. It's a very good trigger. One thing to consider with the Glock Performance trigger, it does require a little bit more maintenance than the stock trigger, you know, just with oiling it and cleaning it. But, you know, I always take very good care of my firearms. You know, I always break them down, clean them, oil them, you know, as you should. So I never really had any issues with this one. Some people, you know, I'm not going to say that they're lazy, but they don't feel the need that they should have to clean their, you know, and maintain their gun every time they shoot or every couple hundred rounds. So if that's the case, you know, you may want to stick with the stock trigger. All right. I have seen where people run into some issues with the Glock Performance trigger, but regardless, back to the Glock versus the Echelon. Okay. So let's take a look here at the Echelon trigger. Now, this trigger right here, I'm just going to come out and say, is one of the best striker-fired triggers that I felt on the market today, okay? There's a couple that that compete with it, if not are a little bit better. I'll give you that. Maybe like the PDP, Canix are up there. But this trigger right here from the factory is fabulous, okay? It has a nice... you know, nice feel to it. You hit a nice defined wall. The trigger pull itself, very nice, crisp. All right, and the reset on this trigger is unbelievable. If you missed it, it already reset. That's how short the reset is. Again, here we go. Take up, break, reset. All right. The only thing that I would say could improve on this trigger right here is the reset. All right, it has a very nice short reset. However, I don't know that I think it could be improved with forcing the reset just a little bit more. And also, I wish that it gave you just a slightly louder audible reset, okay? Because again, you barely hear the reset. You know what I'm saying? Like when you come back to the Glock over here, like it's a loud click, you hear the reset, you know. I don't know, maybe you know, I'm you know, looking at it a little too closely, but I just, you know, personally, I would like to see that reset just a little bit louder, a little bit more tactile or audible. And I've heard, I don't know if this is true, because again, I haven't had any hands-on with the new versions, but I've heard that could have been addressed in the newer versions with the Compt or the compact version. It could have been addressed. If so, you know, I think that's great. You know, I think that's the only thing that could really improve this trigger. I mean, this trigger is spectacular for an out-of-the-box striker-fired pistol. It is great. All right. Something else I would like to point out is this gun, the Echelon here, is 100% ambidextrous. I'm sorry, I can't talk. Ambidextrous, okay? So on both sides, you have the magazine release on both sides here, and on both sides you have the slide stop, okay, on both sides. That is very nice for those left-handed shooters. You know, if you're ever in a situation and your strong arm gets you know, is out of the fight, and you have to use you know, your less dominant hand, or you know, You know, it's very nice. Just a very, very nice feature. For me, it doesn't get in the way of how I hold the gun. Some people, some people say that when a gun is fully ambidextrous, you know, it gives up comfortability in one way or the other. In my opinion, in the way I grip, it doesn't get in my way at all. You know, I think the way that they engineered it is great. It has this little bump out over here, so that way, you know, it kind of just rides right over it like that, you know, so it, you know, you'll never accidentally press it, or it won't get in the way, at least for me. So I think that's a great feature. Very, very nice. Okay. Looking at the Glock is not fully ambidextrous. Okay. It does have a swappable magazine catch, I'm sorry, release. No, magazine catch. Yeah. So if you wanted, you can take this one off of this side and put it on this side. You know, but I don't know. I like the feature of having it on both, you know, just, you never know. You know, but neither here nor there. It is an option if you want to switch it from side to side. It does have the slide stop up here on both sides, so that's very nice. All right. Very, very nice. All right. So when you're looking at the Glock, you know, it's your typical Glock. You know, it's everything that you've come to know and expect from Glock out of the box. All right. It's nothing spectacular, but it's something that you know you can rely on. You know, it's gonna, when you pull that trigger, it's gonna go boom every time. You know, and that's peace of mind, really. I think that's what you pay for, you know, that. And another thing that I'd like to bring up is parts availability. All right, that's I think something else that you pay for when you buy a Glock. All right, you are paying for the fact that, you know, if something goes wrong, or if something breaks or wears out, you are going to have no issues going online to be able to buy parts, get them sent out to you, and to be able to work on your pistol yourself. All right, when you take apart a Glock and you look at it, it's very basic, it's very simple. You know, as long as you have a general understanding of how it functions, you know, you can fix anything about it. You know, and that's one thing that I think should not be overlooked when you're thinking about buying a pistol. You know, you want to know that if something breaks, you can have parts, whether you order them when something happens, whether you have them on hand for if something happens. You know, you don't want to have to be tracking down parts, calling the manufacturer, sending your gun out for repair. You know, if your gun breaks and you can't fix it, I mean, you have a paperweight. You know, what good is it? So you know, I definitely don't think that is something that should be overlooked. And I think, in my opinion, that is one of Springfield's biggest downfalls. Okay, Springfield does not allow you to buy any parts from them, or basically in general at all. You cannot go online and buy any, you know, magazine followers. You can't buy an extractor. You can't, you know, anything. You literally can't buy any parts like you could for the Glock or trigger bar, or, you know, nothing. And that is something that bothers me. You know, I love this gun. I have, you know, quite a few rounds through it. I have no malfunctions, no hiccups with it at all. The only complaint I have is that if something does down the line wear out, I'm not going to be able to fix it. I'm going to have to put it in a box, go to my FFL, send it out to Springfield, wait for them to fix it, send it back to me. It's a hassle. Who wants to deal with that? You know what I mean? I'd much rather just be able to buy the parts, you know, and fix them myself. And, you know, I think that is one of the reasons why people always tend to come back to Glock. You know, I just, you know, it's just the ease of maintenance and the peace of mind knowing that your parts are easy to obtain and you'll never have any trouble getting them. Okay, so I don't know, just something to keep in mind and something to consider. Okay, now something else I would like to point out is the Springfield Echelon here uses what's called a cog system. Okay, so this serialized part in the Echelon is not the frame. So for example, with a Glock, you can go online, you can buy a slide, you can buy all the parts you want, you know, this or that, whatever you want to do, barrels. However, if you want a frame, the frame is the firearm. That's what's actually considered the gun. So if you want to get a new color or a different, if you want to get, let's say you want to get a 17 size frame and put the 19 slide on it so you have a 45, you now have to, at least for in Jersey, you have to go get a pistol permit to buy the frame, because that's the serialized part. All right, and then order it, have it sent to your FFL, and go through the whole process. You know, I understand in some areas you may not have to go through that whole process, but it's still a pain, you know, because you know, again, that's a serialized part. Now, one thing that I think is really awesome, and again, Springfield is not the only company that does that. SIG also does it with, I believe, the 320 and the 365 platforms. And actually, I think Ruger just came out with a pistol where they're doing it as well. I think that's the forward thinking in firearms. I think that's the way the market's going to go, and you know, I'm curious to see if Glock's going to follow suit. But again, back to the Echelon, it uses the COG system. So what's really cool about that is you can take the slide off. All right, and they sell different grip modules for this gun, whether it be a third party from, I believe, Icarus, or, you know, if you want to stick to Springfield themselves, they have different size grip modules, small, medium, large. So you can actually take out the COG system, and what that is basically the trigger and all the internal parts inside the gun are in a contained system. All right, so you would take this off, you would take a couple pins out, and this trigger as well as all the internal parts will slide out in one contained system, and that is the serialized firearm. That's cool, and I think that that is you know, the way things should be. Like I said, I think that's the way the market's going to go going forward. But again, what, you know, it makes things so much easier, and you know, just you know, you don't have to think about anything. You know, you don't have to go through a process. If you want to try out a different grip module, you just order it and throw it right in. You know, it's really awesome. It really is. All right, and I think that's going to pretty much wrap everything up, guys. All right, so you tell me down in the comments, which one are you going to go for? Is Glock with the reliability and the parts availability enough to keep you a loyal customer? Or is Springfield doing everything right, everything that Glock should do? You know, is the metal irons out of the box with the factory optic cut and the nice trigger with the texture? Is that enough to bring you to that side? You know, maybe try something new, more modern. You know, you tell me which one you guys would pick. All right, down in the comments, let me know. I'd love to hear it. All right, guys. Well, like always, it's NJ.Firearms here signing out. If you like what you saw today, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. All right, as always, stay strapped, and I'm gonna see you in the next one, guys. Take care.